Yeah. In the streets, at the club, I'm at the bar, I'm at the mall. They show me love. I'm at the store, I'm at the shop. I hit the bank, I'm at the crib, I'm at the job. I'm holding. Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome to Sinn-Take. My name is Sin, man, and this is the Wild Hair segment where I give y'all my final thoughts of today. And I'm gonna try to sum this up and make this as fast as possible because this story that one of my friends told me about today was just crazy. Now, if you remember an ex-NFL player, his name was Erik Kramer. He was the quarterback for the Bears, right? And post-football, you know, he was a quarterback for the Bears back in the 90s. But after football, you know, he retired. You know, he was getting a divorce from his wife. They had one kid. Anyways, that was happening. He was struggling with depression and all those other things. And long story short, he tried to commit suicide, but he survived it. But the bullet, he had the gun down here and the bullet went straight up, went through his mouth, and it came out his forehead. So he fucked up his frontal lobe. Now, anybody familiar with the brain, you know, or not familiar with the brain, listen, your frontal lobe is what helps you make pretty much grown man decisions. It helps you make grown man decisions. So, whatever, he ended up getting a divorce. He has to recover from this gunshot wound to his frontal lobe. And which, by the way, could take years. While recovering, he ended up meeting another woman. She had another kid, one kid, and they both hit it off. You know, he has his one kid, she has her one kid, and they kind of hit it off, started talking or whatnot, and they became official. And she knew of his situation. She knew that he was fighting depression. She knew that, you know, he had tried to commit suicide and, you know, was having mental issues and stuff like that, you know, going through his healing process and pretty much having let's just say the brain of a 6-year-old, you know. What I mean by that is, like, if somebody was to walk up to him and say, hey, it's sunny as hell outside, he would say, hey, it is sunny as hell outside. But 2 minutes later, if somebody walked up to him and said, hey, it's cloudy as hell outside, he will also say, yeah, it's cloudy as hell outside, even though it isn't cloudy as hell outside. Meaning that, like a child, he will go along with what they say, no matter if it's true or not, you know. So, anyways, he meet this new chick. She seemed cool at first, but it started with one favor. She asked for a loan for $50, and those loans started increasing, you know. One day it's 50, the next time it's more than that, then more than that. And then it got to the point to where this bitch started forging checks. So she clearly was taking total advantage of his mental issues, okay? His family stepped in, you know, got some detectives involved, and they too saw that this bitch was taking a lot of his money. They confront him about it, and of course with that brain injury, they confront him about it. They like, yeah, she taking all your money. They show him the evidence, and of course he like, yeah, she taking all my money. You know, this bitch gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Just like they tell him, like they're like, okay. He confront her, and she hit him with no, they just trying to tear us apart. You know what I mean? They trying to ruin us or whatever. But with that mind still healing, that frontal lobe still healing, he can't make grown man decisions. He has mental issues. So with her saying, no, they trying to tear us apart, they just don't want us together, he like, yeah, they are trying to tear us apart. They don't want us together. You know, obviously she knows that he can't think for himself. So she take total advantage. And in her mind, she like, well, you know what? Maybe if I try to marry this motherfucker, you know, those detectives and shit, they can't do nothing to me. They can't arrest me if we marry. So she like, we should get married. And he like, hey, we should get married. You know what I'm saying? Not even knowing no better. She taking advantage of him, took total advantage of this man. And when they got married, They went along, had a little fluke marriage, but they got married for real. She was hitting him even more, taking even more money. After they tallied up how much she took from him, she took over $700,000 worth of forged shit. Checks she was forging and all of that shit. So he's still healing up here. When he wakes up and finally gets healed up and sees the damage that she's done with the help of his family still, even after their marriage, you know, the family was still pushing like, yo, like, look, what she doing? He all healed up there. He like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He woke up all the way. His frontal lobe of his brain is healed. He see all that like, damn, you know what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Pissed off. He immediately lets her know, like, look, this shit is over. You got to get the fuck out. We done. She crying, do whatever. You know, he puts his hand on her shoulder, say, look, you know, sorry, but it is what it is. I don't know where you're going, but you got to get the fuck out of here. You've been doing me grimy. Puts his hand on her shoulder, like, for real. She leaves. Next thing you know, the police knocking at his door. This Erik Kramer, again, ex-quarterback back in the 90s for the Chicago Bears. Like I said, he tell her she got to go, put his hand on her shoulder. She leaves. Police knock on his door later on saying, hey, did you touch her? He said, yeah, I touched her shoulder. Turn around, you under arrest. So he ended up going down for domestic battery. You know, he can't find no work. He can't find a coaching gig. The NFL not fucking with him, all of that shit because she went and lied to the police. Meanwhile, while he in jail, she, you know, filling out all types of restraining orders and all of this shit. You know, restraining orders, all of this shit. She putting all of that shit out. You know what I'm saying? And he's struggling, can't find no work, whatever. But anyways, after the detective finished all his work, they ended up arresting her. You know, that marriage got thrown completely out. He got proved innocent or whatnot, like, you know what I'm saying? So he was released from jail and all of that. And, you know, she got locked up. The trial getting ready to come up soon, but that bitch took total advantage of this man's mental issues. Took total advantage of it, you know? And it's just crazy, man. And I bring this story up because it's a crazy story. Shout out to my boy Mel for telling me about it, but he has an excuse for getting taken advantage of. He had mental issues. He was fighting depression. He tried to commit suicide. He fucked up the frontal lobe of his brain. He couldn't think for himself. So what's a lot of y'all excuses for getting taken advantage of by women? What's y'all excuse? Because a lot of y'all is willing participants in getting taken advantage of just because of what that female have in between her legs. Just because her looks, just because her titties, her ass, you getting taken advantage of. Poor Erik Kramer couldn't think for himself. And look what that woman did to him. Now, shout out to Erik Kramer because immediately when he got his mental back right, he kicked that bitch to the curb. NFL started fucking with him again. He formed a foundation with the players' union to prevent things like this from happening. To prevent things like this from happening, he linked up with the players' union, and now they have shit like this because there's plenty of women that take advantage of former football players and professional athletes in general. But he formed that in the players' union within the NFL. But I had to tell y'all this story, man, on this Wild Hair segment, man. Listen, and I'm not here to bash women, but you have a lot of women that do these things. That's why you should be practicing semen retention. That's why you need to be hitting that reset button to make sure your mind is right. That's why you should put yourself first. Poor Erik Kramer didn't know no better, but what's your excuse? What's your excuse? Because when you put women on a pedestal like that, guess what? You lining yourself up. When you put women on that pedestal and you don't put yourself first, you lining yourself up. So a lot of y'all don't have an excuse like Erik Kramer did. You know, he was down in the dumps for whatever those reasons was. He was fighting depression. I'm sure that divorce, the first one, didn't help. I'm sure that didn't help. But, you know, he links up with this new chick, thinks everything all good. She asked for a loan. He gives her that one loan and it start escalating. Next thing you know, this bitch takes it upon herself to start forging checks. Takes advantage of him. Hey, we should get married. Okay, to avoid any charges. And then he don't know no better. He went along with it until he woke up. A lot of y'all don't have those injuries. But when are you going to wake up? Take care of yourself, man. Self-love is important. I'm not telling you that every woman is like that. I'm not telling you all women are like that chick. But at the same time, you got to love yourself, man, and avoid these situations. Chasing women and putting women in all these things before you put yourself, you lining yourself up, man. And this is bound to happen by getting lost in the sauce. A lot of y'all lost in the sauce. Stay focused, pay attention. Because a lot of these females is getting corrupted out here. They think it's cute. And you think it's cute to be chasing after them. I advise y'all to take precautions, man. My name is Jason. This is Sinn-Take. This is the Wild Hair segment as well, man. I just wanted to share that message with y'all, man. I'm still hurting, but guess what, man? I'm going to try to keep it coming and do the best I can, man. Be patient with me. All right? Holla at y'all later, man. Peace. First, I'ma get on my grind. Then second, stop wasting my time on shit less important. If ain't about money, I'm going the other direction. And third, I'ma do what I gotta to eat. Fourth, I'ma sew up the streets. Fifth, I'ma never quit dropping this heat. So as long as I'm breathing, you better get used to me. Sixth, I'ma get